addictive you want. Like like you must have come across the e-valley, that is the e-cigarette and vaping associated lung injuries in 2020 during the COVID time. And these are the common kinds of charges they have. And if you want to know about the parts, this is the drip tip, there's the on off button, there's the battery compartment, information display, and this is the tube tank. So this kind of e-cigarettes are available, and now actually there are more kind of e-cigarettes which look like toys. So they are called as the toy pods, and they are even available as hoodies. The string of the hoodie is through the string you can just smoke the vapor. And there are even e-cigarettes on which you can play video games also. So many kinds of that. They keep on innovating. The tobacco industry or the e-cigarette industry, they keep on innovating, and we have very different types of electronic cigarettes now. Yes, Anshika, you can go to other question.
Okay, sir. So I would say that you have just shed light on all those e-cigarette which we are. I myself is not aware that e-cigarettes have games on it just to interact more youth. So my next
Just moreover,
question.
I want to just add that e-liquid, which is there in the electronic cigarette. So that may have flavorings, the propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, and there may be other ingredients. And the aerosol that they may contain even, it's not that harmless vapor, water vapors. It has got nicotine, it has got these vapors of the propylene glycol, then it has got uh, heavy metals too. So these are all harmful products.
Yes, sir. So basically, the tobacco industries are targeting the youth, which we have already discussed in our last session. Thank you so much, sir. Now, my next question is from Dr. Shekhar. Dr. Shekhar, could you please give us an overview of the common health risk associated with using e-cigarettes?
Okay, well, thank you, Anshika, and I welcome all the participants to this platform, and I'm honored to share the stage with our very own beloved Dr. Rakesh Gupta, sir. So thank you for giving the opportunity. Sir is an expert when it comes to e-cigarettes, and he has been the pioneer person. He was the person who set the benchmark of banning e-cigarettes right in his jurisdiction when he was working as a government officer, and then it led to a chain reaction, and then it brought out the pan-India ban of e-cigarette in 2019. Sir has rightly pointed out that e-cigarettes come in a variety of shapes, variety of sizes. They're getting innovative day by day. In a nutshell, I would say that e-cigarettes basically, as they have evolved, there have been like four generations of e-cigarettes. This was started by a Chinese chemist back in 2003, and his name was Hon Lik, and he was the first person who manufactured gross products of e-cigarette, and then when he made it looking like a cigarette, like just a replica of a cigarette with a burning tip at the end, a burning light at the end. That was the first generation, and it later on evolved to e-liquids and tanks, and many fixed voltage batteries and all that. It evolved to second generation and third generation and fourth generation. This the one that sir is saying, that they have video games and that, and they have, they are like a string base. That is the latest generation, the fourth generation e-cigarette. Now, talking about the harms of e-cigarette, basically, as sir said, that there are heavy metals. There is a component called as propylene glycol, and there is a component, obviously, the nicotine. Now, what happens in an e-cigarette is that there's a component of e-cigarette which is called as the atomizer, which is connected with the battery. And when this atomizer is activated or it's switched on, it heats the e-liquid. And this e-liquid contains propylene glycol and sometimes glycerol as well. And when this liquid is heated, the aerosol or the vapor is created, and it goes and it is inhaled. It inhaled by the subject, and it creates a smoke like smoking like sensation. Creates a smoke, creates a smog. So that is what is basically the mechanism of how e-cigarette is being used. Now, this smoke or this e-liquid, what it contains, what constituents it has, what is the concentration of the heavy metals, what is the effect of these heavy metals. This is basically co- beyond the capacity of any person or any regulation to actually judge what is there in the e-liquid cartridge. So far, it was being mentioned in the last meeting as well that there are around 7,000 different types of flavors that are being proposed in e-cigarettes. In e-cigarettes, so along with every flavor, there are several types of constituents and heavy metals as well. When we talk about the gross health impact of e-cigarette, I can basically categorize into the respiratory issues due to smoke, the cardiovascular risks, the addiction component, and any other heavy metal toxicity. When we talk about the respiratory issues, as Sir has rightly said, that EVALI is the term that is given, e-cigarette and vaping associated lung injury. That is the EVALI that we call it as. Basically, it's a lung irritation. It's a inflammation of lungs and alveoli. We have symptoms like coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, dyspnea, bronchitis. All these things are there, which are seen. There's also another term associated with EVALI. It is called as a popcorn lung. And the popcorn lung is basically related to chemicals which are used to which are incorporated into e-liquids to create some flavors. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. So that popcorn lung is basically due to the uh, the constituents which are included in the e-liquids to create some flavors. Now this is basically scarring of the lung, and it is kind of like a permanent lung damage or damage to the alveoli, also called as bronchiolitis obliterans. So that is called as the popcorn lung. It is also one of the respiratory effect of the respiratory damage of the e-cigarette use. Talking about cardiovascular risk, see, smoke is going inside the body, and obviously it will be absorbed in the RBCs, and nicotine will be absorbed in the RBCs. That nicotine as a main addictive substance, they can exacerbate the pre-existing heart conditions. So as of now, cardiovascular risks are just that it. Few studies have shown that there is a risk of atherosclerosis, there is a risk of increasing the risk of clots as well. But so far, the evidence is very limited. Also, we are talking about the addiction. We don't have any control on how much quantity the nicotine is being, at what concentration the nicotine is being put in the e-liquid. So we don't have any control about the addiction level of the subject who is using the e-cigarette. So addiction is also the addiction or the nicotine dependence is also the side effect of continuous e-cigarette use. And lastly, the heavy metal toxicity, heavy metals such as lead, nickel, cadmium. These have already been shown in the studies, and high quantities of lead, nickel, and cadmium is present in the e-liquids. And heavy metal toxicity poses one of the biggest risk factors with e-cigarette use. So these are the gross, I would say, health effects of e-cigarette use. Over to you, Anshika.
Thank you, Dr. Shekhar, for giving us an in-depth overview of health risk associated with the use of e-cigarette. Thank you. My next question is from Dr. Rakesh Gupta, sir. Sir, e-cigarette are often marketed as a tool to help people quit smoking. How effective are they in helping smokers quit, and are there any risk for people trying to use them as a quitting aid?
Yeah, Ashika, I must say that these electronic cigarettes or any kind of such what I call as the new emerging nicotine products, they are not meant for for quitting or tobacco cessation. because they are available FDA approved or DCGI approved products like nicotine gums, nicotine lozenges, nicotine patches, and even the nasal sprays are available. So why not use a why use a banned product which is banned under PICA 2019? It's banned for almost more than 5 years now. So why to use these products? So electronic cigarette, I must say, they are not meant for cessation. Nowhere they have been approved as cessation products, except for maybe UK. UK is a they have approved electronic cigarettes as cessation agents, but nowhere else it has been approved.
Hello.
Yes, Ashika,
Yes,
am
sir.
I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So I think we should not be talking about these products as cessation products because they are not approved.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. My next question is from Dr. Shekhar. Uh, Dr. Shekhar, can you please tell how does e-cigarette use impact youth, particularly teenagers, how they are more vulnerable to the risk as compared to adults?
Well, the whole e-cigarette industry is targeted towards youth. See, as I was mentioning about the generations, the evolution of e-cigarettes, but the evolution was required by the tobacco industry in order to create more and more appealing products with appealing flavors. And there are nearly 400 e-cigarettes brand that currently exist in the world. So all of them are working towards creating niche level of products, and creating as many uh, uh, as many appealing flavors for youth, so that they can attract more youth in this regard, and make them hooked. In this I would also like to show a video for this. Let me can I share my screen, Anshika?
Yes, Dr. Shekhar. Yes, you are co-host. You can share, please.
Just a second. Yeah, I hope the screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, Dr.
It's a
Shekhar, you
very,
can play.
very small video, 30-second video. This has been released by Australian government regarding the harmful effects of e-cigarettes and how youth takes it up.
Vapes are filled with toxic chemicals and artificial flavourings that are dangerous to inhale for you and those around you. Vapes may contain chemicals used to preserve dead things or those found in petrol, which can cause irreversible lung damage. Most vapes contain nicotine, even if they say they don't, which is highly addictive and can harm your brain. Choose vape free for you and me.
Yeah. So such videos, such very small videos, animated videos, are being released all over the world. Sorry,
Radix pre-workout. Then you.
I'm sorry. This was a continuation of previous video. So such many of such videos has been released by governments across the world in order to make the youth aware about vaping, and that is the sole target of tobacco industry, and should not be taken up by any of the governments. Over to you, Anshika.
Thank you, Dr. Shekhar. I request all the participants, if you have any question, please start putting it in the chat box so that our panelists can take up the questions at the end of the session. Thank you. So, my next question is from you that are there any long-term health impacts that we should be worried about, considering that e-cigarette have been around for good number of years now?
Yes, Ashika, I'll be sharing a PDF with you. So all the harmful effects they've already been enumerated by Shekharji, and e-cigarettes can be harmful to your health in many ways. So CDC report that says the disposable electronic cigarettes that has increased 1000% among high school students, and 400% among the middle school students since 2000. So that is quite a high number. And I may tell you that even in India, in spite of the comprehensive ban, still the electronic cigarettes are available and are being used by the youth and the kids, and they are very easily available online. Even offline, they may be available to people who know them, know the vendors, but these are easily available online. And I may say that in addition to the health department, Department of IT and Information Technology and Electronic, good job. And even the Director Revenue Intelligence, that they are working on limiting the menace of the electronic cigarettes. And you talked about the chronic conditions uh, which may be attributed to electronic cigarettes. So the basic component in the electronic cigarettes is nicotine, as Dr. Shekhar Grover also told you. The nicotine it is a vasoconstrictor. So from head to toe, like in tobacco, they have nicotine. So it affects each and every part of the body from the hair to the toenail. So nicotine, it is addictive. It causes you to have craving for the smoking, and you can also suffer withdrawal symptoms from it. And it can even lead to spikes of the adrenaline, and it may lead to increased heart rate and heart attack. So the increased risk of the cardiovascular disease is related to the dual usage. So when you have money, you buy electronic cigarette. When you don't have money, you buy normal cigarettes. So dual usage of cigarettes is very harmful. And as told by Dr. Shekhar, so it leads to irreversible lung damage. This breathing is there, bronchitis, and the lung infections. And I think he missed this point. The cancer-causing chemicals are also there present in the electronic cell, especially the formaldehyde, and they are cancer promoter cells also. They increase with the use of the electronic cigarette. So for the heavy metals like nickel, tin, and lead, we may have to do even chelation therapy in such patients. And very rarely, though, but it really leads to chelation therapy, and with chelation therapy, you may improve the heavy metal poisoning. Then the flavorings, Dr. Shekhar talked about flavorings also. So though it is said that 7,000, more than 7,000 flavors are available, but in some studies, even 15,000 flavors are mentioned. Then the heart problem, I think he already talked about it. It leads to increased blood pressure, increased heart rate, and it even leads to catching colds or the flu also. It's more easily, the people who use electronic cigarette, they catch cold very easily. Then it also leads to the seizures. Actually, one of the participants, Dr. Aruna, she asked about the brain development defects also. So it leads to poor development of the brain, especially in the adolescents, and it may also lead to the seizures. Then the emissions, yeah. As I told you that they are not water vapors, simple water vapors. They contain all kind of chemicals, which may lead to lung disease, heart disease, and cancer. So in addition to nicotine, e-cigarettes and e-cigarette vapor may contain chemicals, as mentioned by Dr. Shekhar also. The propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin is there. They may be safe to ingest or when applied to the skin, but they are not safer when they are inhaled, and this may cause allergic reactions and the lung irritation also. Then the volatile organic compounds are there, which may cause irritation to the eyes, to the nose, to the throat. It may lead to headache, nausea, and they can even damage the liver, kidneys, and the nervous system. Uh, then the flavors, he has already told about the popcorn disease. Evenly, he has already mentioned, and it may be maybe due to because the tank type of electronic cigarettes, you can easily add anything to it, and it may contain tetrahydrocannabinol. TSC. So it was seen in February 2020. It was and almost 2,800 people that suffered from EVALI, and even 6,800 people that died, and mainly because of the vitamin E acetate as a chemical of concern among the people with EVALI. So it was mentioned actually by the CDC, and it may lead to cough, trouble breathing or chest pain, nausea, vomiting or diarrhea, fatigue, fever or weight loss. These may be the symptoms of the EVALI. Then another thing I think he missed was that metabolic syndrome can be there because of the use of the electronic cigarettes. Metabolic syndrome is associated with the high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, and abdominal obesity. So this is a common problem with the electronic cigarette user. And another thing I must point out that the batteries they get exploded. So whenever you go by air, so they mentioned that electronic cigarettes should not be there in your, I mean, the cabin baggage at least, right? Because they explode and they cause serious injuries. Many serious injuries have been suffered by people who came across these explosions. Oral cavity trauma is there. Then the sexual dysfunction can be there. Sexual dysfunction, especially in the men. Sleep problems can be there. And if you are using electronic cigarettes, they have to be disposed of very safely, and it should not be added to the common household hazardous waste collection site. So I think I have answered your question. So I'll welcome any kind of questions the participants they have.
Sir, thank you
Hello,
very
sir.
much. Lot of health risk are related to your use of e-cigarette, and also the evidence shows across the globe that the e-cigarette is like the tobacco industry is targeting the youth, catch them young. So, here, my next question is from Dr. Shekhar. Dr. Shekhar, we have heard about nicotine addiction related to both cigarette and e-cigarette. Can you please elaborate how nicotine in e-cigarette affects brain and body?
Okay, I think Mr. Pawan Kumar wants to speak something first. He was unmuting himself a few times. Mr. Pawan, are you willing
Hello,
to?
sir. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Thank you for noticing that I wanted to speak.
yeah.
The first thing, and sir, I just wanted to know, speaking about the e-cigarettes, like how much riskier than the current cigarette? Like it's a physical form of the cigarette. The e-cigarette, how much riskier it is?
Dr. Pawan, were you there in the previous session?
Uh, Unfortunately, no, sir.
Okay, in the previous session, Professor Ravi Malhotra sir was there as a panelist, and he asked the same question from the participants: which one is safer, falling from fifth floor or falling from 10th floor?
Yeah, theoretically, both are same.
Exactly. So, e-cigarettes, even a puff of e-cigarettes is dangerous, and there's no safe level, or there's no safe, limit of any of the e-cigarettes. We
Okay.
cannot say this is riskier at this time. Talking about the question, I can probably relate your question with the one Anshika asked me.
Yes, yes,
Actually,
yes. I
see,
think
when we are talking about how nicotine is leading to the addiction of e-cigarettes, we need to understand the psychology of how a vapor uses a vape versus how a smoker uses a cigarette. Okay, when you light up a cigarette, it
Yeah.
basically starts burning, and it is basically inhaled for maybe 1 or 2 minutes till the time the length of the cigarette is burnt. But there's no burning end, or there's no burning limit or exhaustive limit to the e-cigarette. One cartridge can continue for weeks. Okay, so basically the subject keeps the e-cigarette in his pocket day in and day out and continuously vapes it. So the level of nicotine exposure typically in a vaping subject is higher. Okay, I'm not saying it is safer, or it is at some level or whatever, but the exposure, the continuous exposure of nicotine to a vapor is is kind of like gradual and higher. Ultimately, the total amount becomes higher. Now, what does nicotine does? Nicotine basically has a stimulatory effect. Stimulatory effect on anything that you can think of. Stimulatory effect on brain, giving a pleasure reward, give stimulatory effect on heart, stimulatory effect on digestive system, endocrine system, kidneys, skin, anything that you can think of. Now, if you think your body is being exposed to that stimulatory effect over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, what will happen? What will happen? Your body will be accustomed to that level of energy. Your body will be accustomed to that level of dopamine, and then you will ask for more. You will ask for more and more nicotine to be dissociated in the body. Okay, so that is how this pleasure and reward starts as a puff, or starts as a single experiment, but then with keeping the vaping machine in your pocket, it creates an ongoing dopamine release, creates an ongoing nicotine exposure. So that makes the person experience that stimulatory effect over and over again on the entire course of the day. Okay, so that is how the nicotine gives you, it rewires your system, and leading to reinforced addiction. Okay, now once you're not getting any nicotine, or once you're not getting anything, you'll find out other things to do just to get yourself hooked. You'll find out, you'll try to gather your dopamine by smoking. You'll try to gather your dopamine by cannabis. You'll try each and every aspect that you can do just to get that dopamine kick, because it was being exposed day in and day out when you had the e-cigarette in your hand. Okay, one more thing. See, the evidence says that the development, the brain receptor development continues till the age of maximum 25 years. Okay, that is where the tobacco industry is targeting. They're targeting youth because they want the brain cells to develop, the receptors of the brain to develop and get exposed to nicotine as early as possible, so that the receptors are modified in such a way that they want their nicotine exposure. So if you try and since India has already banned that is a step not to have an exposure to e-cigarettes. But if you try to restrict a person till the age of 25 not to have any tobacco or vaping habit, it is highly unlikely that after 25 the person will take up smoking in his coming years. By that time the receptors are being developed, the receptors are already there, they are matured enough, and they will not be they will not be activated to any new source of addiction. It is only till the age of 25 that which is obviously the tobacco industry is targeting. Only up till this age that if the person gets an exposure, the receptors are modulated to that level that then they will want that their required nicotine exposure. That is how nicotine functions. I hope that answers the question, Pawan and Anshika.
Yes, Dr. Shekhar, very well. You have covered all the aspects of how nicotine is, how e-cigarette and cigarette are dangerous equally. Uh,
That's
my my round of question is over. Now let's start with taking the questions from our participants. So, Dr. Pawan's question is being answered. Uh, now next question is next question is, what is the legal action taken in India and other countries? So, Rakesh Gupta sir has answered the question. I hope this answers your questions, or we need to take up further,
Nay,
panelists.
I can tell all actually for the
Yes, sir.
benefit of
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
the participants. Actually, before enactment of
Uh, so, so your screen is freeze and we can't hear you. I think some technical glitch.
So
Dr. Shekhar?
I think we can wait for sir. Sir, are you there?
I think he has got internet issues. Let me explore. Meanwhile, Dr. Shekhar, why don't we have another questions? You may answer. Sir is back. Yes. No. Dr. Shekhar, my question is from you. One of the participants, Dr. Sunita, has asked, vaping is rampant in school. Students as young as 12 years of age are indulging. Since it's banned in India, what step can be taken by school authorities if children are caught? I think
See,
very important question.
the PICA ban or uh, Prevention of Electronic Cigarettes Act, Prohibition of Electronic Cigarettes Act, PICA ban does entails the legal punishment for anyone who is seem to have uh, a possession of e-cigarettes or seem to be using that, but that is applicable for adults. Now, if a child is being involved in if child is found to have possessing the e-cigarettes, see, immediate counseling is required, and that is why we do have counselors as well employed in all the schools. That's a mandatory component, and immediate counseling is required. There is no legal action as such that can be taken against a child, and uh, obviously if a child has gotten hold of it, he has been in touch with some adult who is selling it, who is helping him get it, who is helping him arrange the funds for it or whatever. So that can be explored and appropriate action can be taken against that person. Plus it's the school's responsibility to understand there are certain guidelines which are called as TOEFI guidelines, TOEFI, Tobacco Free Educational Institutions, TOEFI guidelines, which are currently being released by the government in order to have all educational institutes, including the schools, and how they can keep the school tobacco free, including the e-cigarettes, and what guidelines, how a school can constitute its tobacco control, anti-tobacco or tobacco control committee with the tobacco control officer, and specific guidelines on how they can uh, you know um, make the school tobacco free completely. I think Aruna ma'am has something to say in this regard.
Ma'am, please.
Uh,
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
interesting. The other day, I was sitting with a colleague of mine. I mean, I'm retired now, but she's still working principal of a leading school in Gurgaon. So I was asking her, how do you take care of their small little USB type, and how do you do frisking and all that? It must be very difficult. She says, ma'am, we are really fed up. I mean, we used to get, pockets full of e-cigarettes, but what do? We can't take in much action, so we call the parents when we locate the child that he's using it. So the parent, in a very protective style, wanted to protect her own child. The mother said, sorry ma'am, I was using those, and he by mistake he carried it. And the boy replies, no mama, you are wrong, it's mine, it's not yours. So that is the type of scene at some of the very affluent families, where even the parents are using the e-cigarettes. And she says after that we had, they were cross sort of arguing with each other, and we don't know what to do when the parent is protecting the child in such a manner. So it is, I wonder if it is one can do much at the school level. You can't punish the child. Only thing is, as Dr. Shekhar said it, that you can probably counsel the children in a different way. But if there is some sort of that sort of atmosphere in the house, then probably school cannot really do much about it. But my question was in the chat box, which got missed out probably, or she's still to find out. I was asking whether there is any rule for passive, just passive smoking cigarettes ka hai for e-cigarettes, because I found in one of the restaurants, a girl smoking endlessly, the cigarette continuously right in front of my own table where we were lunching at one of the days. And so that was, is there any such first number one risk of the to the persons nearby? And the second is whether there is any such rule like Kotpa rule that you can't smoke e-cigarettes in a public place.
Yeah, Ashika, may I answer the question? So I got disconnected earlier because of the
Yes,
phone.
sir. You have already written your answer in the chat box. So I would say that you could please explain it here so that other participants will be able to understand it in a proper way. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Please go
Doctor,
ahead.
we have a very comprehensive Act PICA 2009 Prohibition of Electronic Cigarette Act. So there's no new rule or an act. The sections are required for stopping people from using electronic cigarettes in public places. And as I told you, that the aerosol of the electronic cigarette that leads to secondhand smoking, because it contains the toxic chemicals, it contains nicotine, it contains heavy metals. So if you need to spot, you need to tell person who is smoking in front of you or besides you, you must tell her or him to stop smoking.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And in fact, the PICA 2019 that has to be enforced by police.
Oh,
What is the name like Kotpa you have? What did you say?
Yeah, it is Prohibition of Electronic Cigarette Act.
Okay.
ma'am, it's PECA 2019.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. My next question is from the
sorry.
participant, Dr.
Sorry,
Krishna.
Anshika. I'm sorry, Anshika. Dr. Aruna ma'am is here. Ma'am, we would love that, if Dr. Aruna would also like to speak a few words regarding this topic.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Shekhar. Yeah, I would like to add like why adolescents are at risk of developing the vaping addiction or else any of the nicotine addiction, because the brain is still developing and it develops till 25 years, we know it. And here and on top of it, like the CEO of the brain, that is the prefrontal cortex, the decision making part of the brain is the last one to mature, so which matures by 25 years. So that's why like they are more vulnerable, and the brain maturation takes place from the backward towards the front. The primitive areas of the brain that like the which reacts to the emotion and all these things are the earlier one, they respond more rapidly as compared to the decision making. So here like the tobacco industry not only targets the youth for the through the introducing this nicotine products, but also targeting them as the dual users for as well as the cigarette smoking as well as the e-cigarettes, plus the risk of the future addiction. So as sir said, like now they are coming up with the video gaming devices and all, so that may pave way for even the behavioral addiction as well. Not only the substance use in the future, but also the behavioral addiction also.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Dr. Aruna. And moreover, there's one more point that the scissors can be there because of the damage to the
Yes,
brain.
sir. Because of the repeated neuronal hits, like the that also causes the hits. Nicotine also neuronal inflammation, and they are at more risk for the seizures also.
Yeah. And it
Ma'am, can I have a
and gateway
question, ma'am?
addiction can also be talked about because of the nicotine.
Yes, sir.
So it can lead to more serious addictions.
Because repeated hits, because vaping, as Dr. Shekhar said, like, so since they are the very deceptive devices and more accessible, so they tend to inhale. The frequency of usage of these e-cigarettes is also more compared to the conventional ones.
Yeah.
So repeated neuronal hits that itself may provoke for the neuronal inflammation and the seizures as well. Like.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Ma'am, like this thing, the e-cigarettes are reusable. Is reusable, ma'am?
Sir, actually, the one are the disposable types are there, and another one the cartridge fields are also there, sir.
Yeah.
Single use are also there.
Yeah, in the cartridge pills, there is a risk of transmitting of infection, because if a same person uses, then there is a low risk of infection. If different
Yeah.
individuals use the same cartridge, I think there is a transmission of infection, like
Yeah,
COVID.
just like the
Other things.
sharing a hookah, if
Okay.
they use the same mouthpiece, so there may be the risk associated with that. And since these e-liquids are customizable, so they can add
Okay.
any flavor, they can add
Uh-huh.
any like a cannabis, THC also could be customized along with the nicotine.
Okay. Okay.
And
So
I
they
may
have
tell
got
you, Dr. Aruna, that more people they are using disposable vapes than the other ones.
a
So
tank and the pots and the mods, like they are using the disposable ones because they are very sleek and easy to carry, sir.
yeah. They look like flash drives. Mono.
Yes, sir. That is just like small USBs, like.
Yeah.
If you go to a website who is selling these disposable e-cigarettes, they do give an option of engraving your name as well on the
Yeah.
disposable mod, so that it doesn't get mixed with any of your friends.
Yeah, that's what, no, that they're customized and anything, even they give the options also, what all could be added in.
So the
And
chances
it's
of
okay.
getting oral infection from either of sharing the vape is less. So there are,
Dr. Shekhar, you can talk
Engraved
very
ones.
briefly about nicotine pouches also. They are the in things now.
yes, yes.
Must.
Thank you for highlighting this
Mm.
important component. Yes, this is something which is coming up now. What does the tobacco industry want? They would just want us to stay hooked. Okay, they just want us to stay hooked on nicotine, either by a vape, either by a HNP, either by a pouch, either by anything. Okay, they just want to sell and ask us to consume any nicotine filled thing. So this is something new which is coming up, which is called as the nicotine pouch. Okay, so so this nicotine pouch is basically just a small gelatin filled sack made of paper, constituting nicotine, what we call it, uh, we call it
Nicotine powder actually.
nicotine powder, but that is modified to be made in small balls, so that is like slow releasing balls, like a gel like a gelatin balls. So that is a very small sack like structure, and made of covered with a permeable paper that is sold in a tin box, usually containing pack of 20 or pack of 50, 25 or 50. That this nicotine pouch is basically just kept like as such, like a quid in your mouth, and it slowly releases nicotine and that nicotine is absorbed by the oral mucosa. Just the same way as smokeless tobacco is being used, this nicotine pouch is also being placed in your buccal cavity, and nicotine is slowly being used. Now, this is something which is proposed as a smoke-free way, okay, to stay hooked, but also get yourself smoke quit from get yourself smoke free. This is a new way of tobacco industry to stay keep you hooked on nicotine. Now this nicotine pouch has already gained popularity in the West. US has it, the UK has it, and it has also been tested as a test market in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, in the Southeast Asia regions. Now, as of now, under the PICA Act covers all nicotine products, nicotine-based products, nicotine delivery products, I would say, as a blanket ban. But there are certain websites who are illegally selling. Even you'll find some on social media as well who are illegally selling these nicotine pouches. And as of now, this is currently being sold not on a very larger scale, but this is something which has already been introduced, and we need to be aware that it should not cover the youth. It should not take up the youth just as e-cigarettes have taken up. It is a sad story. Even after banning the e-cigarettes, there is a still surveys have been conducted, and there is still 6 to 8% prevalence of vaping that has been observed in schools. And it becomes our duty now to make people aware about this upcoming problem as well, the nicotine pouch. So that is there, and it has started being sold online. And if you ever encounter a person or a child having a nicotine pouch tin, so please make sure that you throw it all away and make the person aware about its harmful effects.
And Dr. Shekhar, I may tell you that now actually our intern, she did a study on nicotine pouches, a desktop study, the desk review of the people who are selling online. She could get 81 types of nicotine pouches, and some of the pouches they had as high as 43 milligrams of the nicotine. And normally 2 milligram those gums and 4 milligram gums are available, and they contain 43 milligrams. So you could imagine. And
That's
another thing is
59.
that we talked to a retired state drug controller. He said that we can easily act against nicotine pouches under Drugs and Cosmetic Act, which doesn't allow anything to be manufactured except for nicotine gums, pouches, patches, nicotine pouches, gums, and lozenges. So nothing else is allowed. So I think drug and cosmetic use, this Drug and Cosmetic Act should be used more against nicotine pouches.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. In the interest of time, I will now take the questions from our participants. It's in the chat box. You think using pictorial warning on vape will work? This is the question from Krishna.
Yeah, actually, it is already banned product. So why think about this
Putting a
warning?
pictorial
It's
warning.
already
Don't
banned.
have any more regulation. It's already banned.
So actually, tobacco industry or the vape industry, they want it to be regulated instead of being banned. But in case of the India and many 33 other countries, it has been banned very comprehensively.
We also have a few participants internationally. I can see Dr. Sujaya is here. Good afternoon, Dr. Sujaya. She's from Nepal. Namaskar. How are you? Yeah, Dr. Sujaya, if you can.
Yeah, I'm
Some,
good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Dr. Sujaya, if you can share some perspective from Nepal's side, if you have any updated knowledge about the legalities of e-cigarettes in Nepal.
I'm not an expert on the subject, but as far as I know, like there are rules like about schools, so you can't sell something like within tobacco products within 100 meters, but it has not been followed at all. Schools, hospitals, but like right next to our hospital, we can see those kind. So Nepal, I think legally we are very far behind. That's why I'm here to learn from you all. So though rules are very good, but it's not what to say, not
But in
implemented
Nepal, the
properly.
pictorial health warning is very good. It's
Yeah, picture
90%.
warning is good, sir. But
Yeah,
still, like we can find the shops right next to our hospital schools,
sure.
and legally they should not be there. But
The
because
enforcement is an issue
yeah,
everywhere, actually.
enforcement is very poor, sir.
You're right.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Sujaya.
Next question is from Siddhi, Dr. Siddhi. Vaping must be more addictive than smoking. What methods of counseling are useful for cessation and for withdrawal?
So I
So,
think the methodology for withdrawal symptoms against the withdrawal symptoms the same with the vaping. But in any case, since it is a banned product, we must try to enforce the law. And but in case you come across any person who's addicted to nicotine from electronic cigarettes, the treatment remains the same.
yes, this has been the
Yeah.
new terminology in regards to vaping, that is called as vaping cessation. That has been taking up in a lot of Western countries, vaping cessation, and as sir said, it involves a similar methodology.
Next question is from Dr. Iswara. Like nicotine patches, is there anything specific for vaping?
Cessation.
Yes, the question is
Not
already
as
answered.
not as such in India. See, we are already prescribing nicotine patches and gums for smoking cessation, but as such, vaping cessation has not taken up as a gross challenge in Indian scenario. So we'll have to see in the times to come how vaping creates a public health impact, and if it does, enforcement first of all should be the priority to enforce the implementation. And if there is if we still see a negative consequence of vaping, then we'll move on forward to efforts for cessation as well.
Yeah. And Dr. Shekhar, I think regulation is no answer to such problems. So it is always good to have a comprehensive ban. Though the enforcement remains the issue everywhere all over the world, but still it is better to have a comprehensive ban.
Next question is from Dr. Siddhi again. What action can be taken against e-commercial sites like Amazon, Big Basket, etc., which sell e-cigarettes? How to make sure that this practice is banned? Yes, absolutely right question.
Yeah, Amazon doesn't sell e-cigarettes now. Amazon doesn't sell it.
See, these
But
are licensed commercial e-commercial websites. These are licensed e-commercial websites. Big Basket, Amazon, Blinkit. These cannot sell e-cigarettes. This e-cigarettes, what you'll get in an online market will be from unlicensed e-commercial websites. So they use private channels to deliver.
Sir, it is there. I could see it. I had taken screenshot as well. On Big Basket and Blinkit, it was available. I'll recently I will check, but yeah, it was earlier. It was there.
But it is not available on Amazon. Blinkit and the Big Basket may be, using their courier services for, providing the electronic cigarettes, but maybe unknowingly, I don't know. They may not be knowing about the law. But if there is such instance, just let me know about it.
Because, sir, Big Basket is like
Sir,
today's
as a
day-to-day.
pan corner. Sorry, on Big Basket you can see pan corner. It has same product.
So is it a different than portal then? It may be a different portal.
Sir, all these websites probably would be selling components of e-cigarette as spare parts. They cannot sell e-cigarettes as such. These licensed e-commercial websites cannot sell e-cigarettes. They'll be into huge legal trouble.
But in case you
It-
come across such a violation, you must report it at the portal. The Government of India portal is there, or you can just write it to me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next question is from Tejaswini. Sir, e-liquids are available online stores without restriction. So in this scenario, what is the way out to prevent? That means it is available.
Yeah, the simple way out is that cybercrime wings of any state, they can act against these people. They just issue a notice to these e-commerce sites. And normally, what happened in Punjab was that it was banned under Drug and Cosmetic Act in 2016, I think. They issued awareness notices to the e-commerce sites. And when you put a pin code of Punjab, they did not sell in Punjab. So I think it is effective that the police crime wings, the cyber crime wings, they send awareness notices to such people who are selling it. Government of India can do it better, I think.
Okay, sir.
I request Dr. Siddhi, if you have any link which shows that any of the e-commercial websites are selling vapes or e-cigarettes or
On pan corner, on Big Basket, I just opened. It has the caption of pan corner, and on that it shows, it has written cigarette smoking is injurious, but it says get tobacco items in 5
Can you
minutes.
share the link in the chat box, please?
I'll
And Dr. Siddhi, you can write a complaint directly to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. I think they'll notice it and do something about it. You must do it.
Okay.
Dr. Shekhar and Rakesh Gupta, sir, I was just, as Dr. Siddhi has asked this question, I was checking my Zepto app, which I am regularly using. So when I put e-cigarette, then they were like other tobacco products, they are giving a different separate. When I click there, view items there, then I'll be diverted to a separate page. But on the Zepto app, it shows Pro Electronic Refillable Lighter. So
Actually, lighter is different.
okay, this is
Just
not like anything electronic
no,
lighter.
You'll find cartridges also. I'm saying that these components
Cartridges, yes.
components
Components are
can be
available.
sold as
but
as a
even the components are not allowed, Dr. Shekhar. So I think we must put
They
it on
don't
the
claim it
portal.
as a vaping component. They don't claim it as a vaping component. They just term it as flavored liquid. That's it.
But still, we can send a complaint at the portal.
E-accessories. Dr. Aruna has mentioned in the chat box. E-accessories, absolutely.
Still, a person can lodge a complaint against them.
So it's the same funda that they're using for Gutka also, no?
But in the PICA Act, it is not allowed. Even the refillables are not allowed, as per the Act.
I request all the participants, I hope I have covered all the questions in the chat box. Please raise your hand if in case I have left any questions. You can ask it directly from our panelist.
Well, that's sir. Please, Dr. Rakesh sir, I request you to please let us know once again what can we do in case we find a website who is selling these products. I request every participant to please listen to this aspect properly and what you can do to stop any of the person who is promoting this commercial sales.
Okay, I'm trying to find out the link to the grievance portal of Government of India.
All of us can collect the screenshots where it is available, the website link, and submit it to Dr. Rakesh Gupta sir and Dr. Shekhar Grover so that they can take it forward.
Yeah, we can do it on your behalf, but it is better that you do it yourself, so that more people they use this portal for for lodging the complaints.
Yes, of course, sir. Yes, of course. We will.
Or later on, I think Anshika, I'll send you the link.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have a WhatsApp group and I will share it there so that every participant can access the link and submit the screenshot or whatever evidence they have got. They can submit it or upload it over there.
Yeah, that would be better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I hope all questions answered of today's session. With this, we have come to the end of the session. We have actually crossed our time. It was so engaging. I would say engaging that I could not realize that when it passed 4 p.m. So thank you everyone. Thank you our panelists. Special thanks to Rakesh Gupta sir for having answers of each and every question. And thank you, Dr. Shekhar, for like giving an in-depth knowledge to all the participants. The e-cigarette is like it is like I am also coming through different aspects of e-cigarette, what it has, how tobacco industry is making it for our youth by putting games and flavors and whatnot they can do just to increase their addiction and just to increase their sales. So thank you everyone for being with us. Thank you, participants. I would say that please be with us for more interesting sessions like this.
Sure. Thank you for the host and the panelists also.
Thank you, Dr. Pavan. I would request everyone to please join us on next Wednesday and benefit yourself from our sessions of this cohort. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Shekhar, once again. Thank you, Rakesh Gupta, sir, once again. Thank you, Kunal. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.